Welcome, 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 Voice of Truth. Jimmy Jam Moore here on this Friday. Glad to be with you. Man, it's a cool hat, isn't it? I love this hat. Goes with my shirt, huh? Anyway, guys, I just, these last few videos, instead of kind of giving you a little lesson, I want to pull back and give us a little bit of a bigger picture here. Because, we talked about the feminization of the church and so many things. Boy, we missed it on. We wonder, what can we do? This whole thing, as we talked about Wednesday, begins with worship, okay? Begins with worship. Getting our worship right. Worshiping God. That's something I'm looking at. A whole lot. And I know, when you say that, I know people say, hey, brother, we're not under the law. But it didn't say we were under the law. But, we need some boundaries. We need boundaries. Kids need boundaries. When you don't have any boundaries, man, you get in a mess. Kind of looks like with our country here, So, where do you draw the line on immigration? Do you let everybody come in? Immigration can be a great thing done properly. When you just open up the borders and have a free-for-all coming in, man, it's going to drain the resources. It's jobs, everything. It's just a mess. Not only counting the security measures that are not there. Okay. And I think everybody knows or senses that we have got some troubling times ahead of us. And I think a lot sooner than later. Again, this is just speculation here. Reading the tea leaves, if you will, because you can kind of sense this. I saw a report, and kind of forgot, I guess, a little bit, but September 18th is the sentencing for Donald Trump in that case in New York. And I found out, I guess, if the media, remember I told you, if the media is reporting, they are already preparing a place for him at Rikers Island for him to go to jail. Some reports say he'll be sentenced, but it'll be probationary. Many reports say that he will get a year. And, you know what happened with their last time in 2020, and then this time it seems like it's magnified, a whole lot worse. I saw these reports where don't be surprised if Kamala is not on the ticket, and that they backdoored Joe, and now a lot of this corruptionist stuff is coming out, and he may be throwing some people under the bus. You just see this devouring itself. And I think of a verse that Paul wrote in Romans: death reigned. You see, empire, evil empire, the kingdom of darkness is ruled, and it consumes itself. And the king of that whole thing is death, and it doesn't matter. And it's just squeezing, tightening. See, this is what salvation is. Salvation brings you out of that. It's not for an over there thing. It brings you out of that. I come that you might have life. And we see empire, and you can go back through history or just the last 2,000 years of history, and you can see these empires go down. Daniel saw them rise up with power and horns and all of this, and then another beast eats them up. You see this in the book of Revelation, and especially so, we see Satan is cast out. He comes down with fury because he knows he has a short time. Because the whole system devours itself. The whole system devours itself. And that's what it does. I mean, it consumes. This is not an oddity. This is what evil does. Death, you can get a virus And one of the things that viruses do is they, viruses evolved. Now, I'm no doctor, obviously, because they know when they come in, if they kill the host, they die too. Okay, so they learn to adapt. Okay, we've got, because they want to live together, so that when they first come out, maybe a lot, and then you think you build up antibodies. Well, the virus is adapting too, because it doesn't want to kill itself. But with evil's just stupid, because evil will just kill, destroy until there's nothing left. Move on to another victim, because that's what evil does. Jesus would tell him, you're of your father, the devil. He's a liar, and he's death, and all of this stuff. And the thing is that what changed everything was, and Jesus on the cross, let me say this, Jesus on the cross drew all that evil to one spot, and let evil do the worst that it could to him. He was innocent. That's why it was so horrible. You may say, well, other people died. They was, the guys crucified with him. Yeah, but they were guilty. He was innocent. So this was the ultimate that evil could do to a human being. And then what happened? He's dead on the cross. They take him down, lay him in a tomb. But he rose again victorious. And when he rose again, I want you to understand, something happened. And what happened was, this is the greatest defeat of the enemy. This is the greatest victory that could ever be. And set in motion a brand new creation, a brand new way of brand new kingdom, everything unleashed at that time. And you and I have the opportunity of participating in that. It's amazing to me. And most of the church and people, they stand back and they have this sense and all this fear and all this other stuff. I was watching this show the other day. It was a little series called Station 11. I kind of like those kind of things, like The Walking Dead, some of those things. And in that show, Station 11, there's a super flu that's kind of, going around and killing everybody off. And you know what? Most of the people don't believe it. Most of the people don't believe it. And one of the characters in the story is like, they say they're closing the airport. They'll have it back open in 3 hours. I'm going to go play some golf. And he goes off, plays this golf. There's been men in history, Karl Barth, Dietrich Bonhoeffer, we talked about before, saw what was happening. And, think about the Jews that were in Poland at the time, and they're just thinking, should we leave? Should we not leave? Nah, I don't think it'll get that bad. No, it'll be okay. We'll just hang on. They'll get it. And here we are in our country, and we're doing the same thing. It's okay. It's okay. It's all right. It won't get that bad. And we'll just sit back. We're a small town. We'll watch it from afar. And what do you think happens when they sentence Donald Trump to a year in jail? When one of the congressmen has already came out and says if something happens that he does win the election, that we are going to invoke the 14th Amendment and disqualify him. Now, I'm not picking up for either one, and knowing they will not even allow Bobby Kennedy Jr. to get any kind of traction whatsoever. They're not going to allow that. So you see this, and we could call it, I know people wants to call it cabal or the deep state and all this other stuff. I don't go in for that. What this is what death does. Death reigns, okay? It reigns in everything. It's the kingdom of darkness. This is what it does. You can go back, the French Revolution, the 30-year wars, the fall of Rome, the Ottoman Empire, the Soviet Union, and it's our turn in the pot. Okay? I mean, and this is what's going on. And the church, is going to have to rise up and put on these priestly garments and speak truth into power. Because what happened in Germany with Dietrich Bonhoeffer is those churches, which Germany was mostly Lutheran because of Martin Luther was a German. And they just thought, well, it's okay. And you know what happened? They all got wiped out. Once the Third Reich took over, and either the churches fell in line or they were put to death. By then it was too late. And I sort of see the same thing going on here. Just like that guy in Station 11. Oh, it'll be okay. I know it's a super flu, but they're just kidding. They just want to have control. And listen, this is what power does. Power does want to have control, and then it wants to consume you, which it is doing. And if it's not consuming you, it's like a constrictor, like a boa constrictor that just squeezes the life out of you. And I watched that in our youth, our 15 to 25-year-olds, especially the young men of that age group who just seem like they have no future. They don't have girlfriends. They can't get good jobs. They're in debt. They can't go outside and explore and do the things and, the adventures and stuff that we grew up with. They live in a whole different world. And there was a quote, I forget who said it, maybe Confucius made it, said that the youth would burn the village down just to feel the heat, just to feel its warmth. And so you got all of these things going on at the same time. All of these things. And I just believe there's going to be a whole lot more stuff that comes out. And I hope as a church that we can stir a fire, get our worship right, and see where we go. Because, God's kingdom is going forth. And you can either be a part of that or steamroll. And I know, people say, well, gosh, God is love and all this other, I understand all that, but, sin has consequences. Paul, is adamant, all the scripture's adamant, sin has consequences. It just does. We kind of went over this. The wages of sin is death. And, as long as you keep going down that road, the end result will be death. And I know some people want to say, well, that's spiritual death and all this. No, what Paul was talking about was death. I don't know, spiritual death, all this other stuff. And I want you to know that when nations do these things, it's the end of them. When societies do these things, it's the end of them. When communities do these things, it's the end of them. When you do these things, it's the end of them. It ends in the same way, death. And that's that's where we are. So I hope, again, maybe stir a little fire and we can rise up, wake up, speak truth to power. The role of the church in politics. Yes, we have a role. We have a role and we need to be fulfilling that role. Hey guys, Jim here. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you really enjoyed it. I really love bringing these things to you. I just wanted to say, if you really liked it, drop a like. Man, that really helps us out a lot. Hit the share button, subscribe. If you want to get notified when they're coming out. We come out every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday as of right now. We got more teachings on Rhythms of Grace, communityfellowship.com. You can find us right there. On there, you'll find all the links to our podcast on Voice of Truth and Rhythms of Grace, Community Fellowship. And it'll also take you to our YouTube for these channels, Rhythms of Grace, communityfellowship.com. You can find everything right there. Again, thank you. Leave us a comment, hit subscribe. Guys, again, thank you so much for watching this. Hope you enjoyed. We'll see you next time. God bless.